having a personal brand is so important because your competitors have one. If you don't, then people don't know who you are and your story of why you started it. And I'll tell you that the reason why my agency went from 0 to 1 million in 10 months was because of my story.
I hope that one takeaway from this episode is to dig into your story more. For me, there was a switch inside that I knew. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is my opportunity to do that. I can help people in this way. Spend some time reflecting. Then that's your story, your why. That becomes your differentiator.
One of the biggest things that my agency's been focusing on over the past year is showing up in AI search results. How do you do that? A couple different ways. You have to make sure that your AI is searchable on your website and you have AI searchable blogs written for AI. And then also PR and third-party resources are another factor in showing up in AI. So if you're not using any sort of PR or guest posting strategy, you're not going to show up in AI search results as much. So we look at all of these types of things.
On episode 461 of the podcast, we talk about why your personal story is the secret weapon that separates you from every other video business and how to turn it into premium pricing power. We also go over the AI search optimization strategy that's making or breaking creative businesses in 2025, and most filmmakers are completely missing it. And then finally, how a single mom went from selling her house to fund a PR agency to hitting 1 million in 10 months using nothing but her story and strategic positioning. What's up, my friend? Hey, welcome back to the show. I'm Ryan Coral. This is the Grow Your Video Business Podcast. Super excited to have you. If you're new, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm your new best friend. Okay, that's a lie. I don't even know you, dude. I just got back from the Muse Storytelling Story First Summit. I wish I could just make this podcast right now about that event. It was amazing. The people were beautiful and just had so many great conversations. It was powerful. I learned so much stuff. Oh my gosh, there's so much to running a business, running this kind of business. And if you're a solopreneur, if you're part-time wanting to get into video, or if you've been doing video for the longest time like me, this is a very exciting time to be doing this work. There are so many things that we can do to be leveraging our time, to getting back our time, to stop working on things that really are a waste of our time. I had two mastermind calls today, and this is a lot of what we talked about. It's so important for us to spend more time doing the thing that brings money into the business and less time doing tasks that are just like $10 an hour, $20 an hour tasks. You have so much more to offer your clients than going back and forth over finding a time to meet, finding a time to book on your calendar, getting rid of spam, and just so many things. No matter where you're at, if you haven't taken advantage of this free workshop that I have, where I'm kind of jamming like my biggest, best things that I've learned in building this business that has generated millions and millions of dollars over the last 21 years that I've been in business. I want to give this to you. You can access this workshop by going to studiosherpas.com/workshop. Check that workshop out. I promise you, it's a little bit of a time investment, but you'll walk away with some new ways to look at your business, and I think you'll be better for it because of it, in it, through it, during it, after it. Okay, I'm done. Let's get into today's episode with Lauren. It's going to be, it's a good one. So here we go. What's up, my friend? Hey, welcome to another episode of the show. Today with me is my friend, Lauren Cobello. She is the CEO and founder of Leverage with Media PR. Did I do, you're nodding your head like I did it right. Lauren, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Man, I have been, we didn't talk about this in the preamble or the pre-ramble or whatever we were doing before I hit record. It has been fascinating. We met maybe, I guess, almost a year ago. at Terry's event. Oh, no, I think I sent you that. I sent you that Instagram video before that,
Yep.
and we did have chat before the event. But watching your life kind of from afar, a little bit from a near, it's been fascinating to watch you. I don't want to say rebuild in an offensive way, but it seems like you're doing a lot of rebuilding personally and professionally. And I just want to say congrats because it seems to be working well for you and those around you.
Thank you so much. It's been a blast, and I think as an entrepreneur, that's one of the things that we do so well is we figure out what we love and we can continuously rebuild and I think rebrand ourselves and we'll probably get into a little bit into that about what I used to do and what I do now. And it's been an absolute joy to be able to do it.
And not a struggle at all, right?
No, never. I don't ever want to quit and give up. Ever.
Yes, ever. No, not. She basically before we hit record, she's like, "Do we really have to do this podcast? Ryan? Can I just go?" Like,
but yeah.
What would you say? What as you reflect and think about, the last 3-5 years, what would you say you've learned about yourself?
I think that the biggest thing that I've learned about myself is that failure is my fuel. And that I'm one of the strongest, most resilient people that I know. I thrive on strategy, and I also think that I've proven to myself. There were many times that I wanted to give up on my dreams, but I've proven to myself that if I have a goal and a will and a desire and a strategy that I can do it. And so for me, failure has always been the stepping stone to success, and that if I don't quit, I will always win. And so for me, it's just getting through the hard times in entrepreneurism and in life is just a stepping stone to more yeses. And so every time I go through a hard time, I'm always like, okay, we're one more step closer to a yes and to a great time. And then those good times, I sit in, and I'm so grateful. So, I think there's ebbs and flows in life and ebbs and flows in business. And I just always take those with a grain of salt of knowing that, I'm in that sucky time. But reminder, it's going to get better.
Yeah.
It has to.
That's where does that resilience come from?
I think that deep down, just a firm belief in the goodness of life. Like I really truly believe that life is a beautiful thing, and I always have just been like, I've got one life to live, and I'm gonna be damned if it's a miserable one. I'm gonna make it as beautiful as possible, and so I wanna love the work that I do. I want to love my friends. I want to love what I do. And I'm going to make sure that this life that I have is worth living, and I'm going to have fun. And so I think that really deep down for me has always given me this will to win, because I refuse to be miserable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really where it comes from.
So when you're talking about, doing whatever you need to make it worth it, what makes it worth it for you?
I'm a single mom of 4. So I remember, and we'll go back real quick to, I got my start in entrepreneurism as a frugal living blogger back in 2006.
Oh man.
I was like one of the OG mommy bloggers.
Absolutely.
Learning how to make money online as a newbie. Like, we were all just trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
In 2006, and so I made a living, a full-time six-figure income by 2010. I was making 6 figures a year. And, we were still, there was a whole crew of us women that were mommy bloggers that were all really tight. And, back in that day, I was still married. I had 2 kids and 3 kids and 4 kids. And I was, blogging while nursing and blogging while changing diapers and, all of that I've been through all stages of life. And I always just told my kids, like, in my mind, I always wanted as a mom to provide a life that was flexible for them so I could be around for them. And then when I went through my divorce, I got divorced around 8 years ago, and I said to myself, like, I want to show my daughters that they can do anything, that you can be a mom and you can own a company. You don't have to be one or the other. And so when I sold my personal finance company and started a PR agency, I sat my kids down and I said, listen, I want to tell you that in a year, I promise you I will have $1 million company. I promise you. And in 10 months, I did it. That was my drive, to prove to myself and to my children that I could set this goal, I could do it, I could have fun doing it, I could do it as a mom, I could do it with my kids, I could have a schedule so I could be at every single game, every single event of theirs, and still build this thriving business that has always been my driver, to prove to my 3 daughters and my son that you can do anything, and that you don't have to choose between being a mom and a business owner, and that you can really do it all. So that's always been like my gut driver behind it all.
Wow. What do you think that's meant to your daughters?
I had this conversation with my daughter yesterday, and she's like, Mom, you have shown me how to show up for myself. You've shown me how to say no. You've shown me that anything is possible. You've shown me how to set boundaries. And you've shown me how to make money. I mean, all of these things that I didn't have instilled in me a decade ago. And so those lessons that I've had to learn the hard way, I'm instilling in my children. And that to me means so much. And I've made so many mistakes along the way. I mean, I'm not saying I'm perfect at all. I have to choose sometimes between going on a business trip and going to a concert, because sometimes those choices have to be made, and they suck. I mean, they really suck, where I have to miss out on things sometimes, but I try my best and don't miss out on 95% of the things in life. But to me, that's the joy of being an entrepreneur, is you get to choose the life that you want to live. And that's the life that I want to live. One where they're first, and I can choose, anything that I want to do with them. And, they get to see hard work too, which doesn't go unnoticed.
That's incredible. The fact that daughters, if only like barely half of that was true, those are powerful words. She's how old?
16.
I mean, Mom, like, wow, that is amazing.
Yeah, thank you. I think those moments are like the proudest for me.
Yeah.
And, it hasn't gone without sacrifice. When I sold my personal finance company, I sold my house to start Leverage with Media PR. The house that they had grown up in, that was a really hard decision, but I needed the capital to start the company. Yeah. And so we made a lot of really hard decisions as a family, and went all in together, and it's turned out better than I could have ever hoped.
Yeah. Related? Maybe not related. Aren't you a Buffalo Bills fan?
Yeah, I'm actually I'm going to a game on Sunday.
Yeah. So when
don't be jealous.
Resilience, you kind of have to be as
it
a
is
Bills
in
fan,
our blood. I think as like an upstate New Yorker, we are just resilient people. I mean, we get to deal with those snowstorms. It's like,
oh my gosh,
we just deal with it. I'm a Bills fan. We just deal with it. We're just made different,
I just watched the Dallas Cowboys Netflix docuseries. It's, oh man, the poor Bills. Oh man, it was like all from like the 90s and early 2000s. You should watch it. I don't know.
Yeah, I need to watch it. I've heard about it.
It was fascinating. I'm not a Dallas Cowboys fan, but I couldn't help but and I'm not even going to say names because people are going to be like, no way, you can't like that person. But it's when you hear somebody's story, it's hard to not have empathy. Yeah. And, it's just it's a completely different perspective than, hating all of these other teams, from the 90s and these dynasties and whatever. But that was and I will say, like, I got very emotional. I cried some tears toward the end of that documentary. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I don't, I had no connection to these guys other than I hated them growing up. And here I am, like, just like, man, I got a heart for them. What the heck? That's the power of story.
It
Power of
really is.
PR.
It
Right?
is. It really is. We're storytellers.
Yeah. Well, in the work that you get to do, can you just brag on yourself a little bit and just talk about if we were to, focus on the greatest hits, like some of the coolest people you've worked with or projects you've worked on, what are some of those greatest hits that you would just be bragging about, unless I was actually asking you about?
Yeah, we've had the honor of working with clients like Kurt Angle, from the WWE, Olympic gold medalist. We did his PR. We work with a really amazing Christian TikToker right now who this is like kind of full circle for me. His name's Bryce Crawford. He's got 5 million followers on TikTok and Instagram. He's actually my daughters are like, I don't know if your kids are raving fans of Bryce, but if you're in the faith community and you have teenage kids, you know who he is. We've done some amazing, amazing work with him. So that's been a personal, really great thing for me because my kids are really big fans of his. So to be his
That's so fun.
publicist is like, a big flex for me because
Yes.
I'm always like, they're like, did you talk to Bryce today? I'm like, yes, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, yeah.
So good.
And I just set up this like big podcast for him with the Island Boys. And it's gone viral and like all this stuff. So that, they're bragging to all their friends. So like anytime I can do stuff like that with my kids, I'm like, yeah. We've worked with Dave Asprey. We launched his last book. We've worked with just like so many amazing people.
Yeah.
Dr. Marcus Collins, who used to work for Beyonce and helped launch her music career and is now a professional speaker. We helped launch a book called Break Proof, which is a woman named Jen Drummond. She set a Guinness World Record for being the only woman to ever climb the 7-second summits, and she's a single mom of 7. We got her on like the Jennifer Hudson show and Good Morning America and like all these national shows.
Wow.
We work with some amazing podcasters like the Julian Dory podcast, who's one of the largest top 20 like podcasters in the country on Spotify. We work with some of the largest podcasters in the country. So, we're consistently working with celebrities and I have a phenomenal podcast division and we're booking our clients on all of the top podcasts in the country. I would say that the biggest flex is that we have created some really strong personal brands out of our agency of people that have gone on to become the top speakers in the world through the work that we've done. And so to me, anybody can take a celebrity and get them press.
Yeah.
I prefer not to work with celebrities. I prefer to take somebody who's not known and turn them into very well known. To me, that's the greatest work.
Yeah.
And so, I could sit and brag about the Kurt Angles and all of that. But I prefer to work with people that we can build them up into strong personal brands. So yeah, that's just like a little bit about, some of the like more well-known people, I would say, like Dave Asprey and Kurt Angle. We've worked with Evie Oddly, who won like season 11 of RuPaul's Drag Race and did a big, huge like 42 city book tour with them. So we've done really cool stuff with people that are well known, but also, some of my favorite things are from people that we've helped kind of build their personal brands up to make them really well known.
Love that. So good. Thank you for sharing
Yeah.
that. I just got done with another interview earlier, and it was kind of one of the things of like, as most creatives are hesitant to share the wins because it feels braggy and nobody wants to hang out with people that are braggy. But the consensus is that if you don't share some of that stuff, and it can be shared in a humble way, but if you don't share some of that stuff, then people won't lean in. There's this like, with clout sometimes comes this like, okay, so this person actually knows what they're talking about. Ryan's been in business for over 20. Okay, there's something there. Oh, he's won some awards. Okay, there's Ryan's worked with, XYZ. It's like, oh, okay, or he's, landed this much in job. It's like, oh, okay, if I'm going to learn from somebody, knowing that, he's built this or that or whatever, it's like, okay, like, so it is this delicate balance. And I would say specifically for creatives who, they just want to get hired because the work is good, that the work speaks for itself. So when we talk about like personal brands, that's like one of my favorite topics. Sorry, not sorry.
Same. So we're in a good space.
Yeah. But for my listener who's like, Ryan, again, we're talking about personal brands. I just think it is worth continuing to talk about because people don't want to work with businesses or brands. They want to work with other people. They want to hire people. They want to feel like they know, who they're working with. And so from your perspective, knowing that this audience mostly is they're creatives, they're in video production, they're small teams, if not solopreneurs. What advice or how do you speak to, and let's use me as an example. I've got Tell Studios, our production agency. I've got this, what started as a side hustle, but has turned into like a real education brand where I'm helping people with their business and, this podcast and all this stuff. But like, is it important when I look at my production business, is it important to have some kind of a personal brand that is tied into this agency? Like, at what point are you like, no, that's not a fit? Knowing what the person's goal is in mind, like, what are some of those things that you're like, man, if you're this or this, or you're building this or this, you really should focus, some energy and resources on your personal brand, because that's only going to help this thing that you're trying to build over there. Does any of that make sense?
No, it does. I think
Okay.
Let's first define what a personal brand is. I think that would be helpful,
let's do that.
right? What a personal brand is, when people Google you, what comes up? Plain and simple. What comes up? Do you have, a Google knowledge panel set up? Do you have a website with your name set up? What does your Instagram bio say about you? What does your TikTok say about you? What does your LinkedIn say about you? Those are kind of like the very basic things when we're talking about a personal brand. What does the internet say about you when people go to try and find you? And if it's not cohesive, we have a problem. Okay. Now, we also need to factor in the fact that AI, you now need to show up in AI search results as well. If people are looking for a production company that does what you do, Ryan, are you showing up? Right? One of the biggest things that my agency's been focusing on over the past year is showing up in AI search results. How do you do that? A couple different ways. You have to make sure that your AI is searchable on your website and you have AI searchable blogs written for AI in a specific function. And I actually use a certain kind of AI generated website that I can give you. I don't remember the name of it, but we can put it in the show notes. I can send it over to you later.
Sweet.
And then also PR and third party resources are another factor in showing up in AI. So if you're not using any sort of PR or guest posting strategy, you're not going to show up in AI search results as much. So we look at all of these types of things, right? These are all the things that are doing a personal brand. So if you want to do a personal brand audit, Google Knowledge Panel, LinkedIn, Instagram, all of your social media accounts, and do you have a personal website? If you don't have a personal website, on your main website, do you have an about page that describes who you are as a founder, right? Those are kind of the things that you need to be looking at. And why is this important? Is because we are in an attention economy. Whoever has the most amount of attention is getting the work.
Yeah.
Just plain and simple. So are you showing up on social? Are you showing up? And this is the silly thing is like, as a publicist now, I spent years being the person that hired a publicist. And I found a lot of flaws, which is why I started my agency. We're doing things like just even getting people on red carpets right now and getting them in Getty photography is attention. It's not showing up on TV anymore, but it's another way of getting attention, and it's free, right? So getting them red carpet attendees, getting them on TV, getting them articles, but then also getting them on podcasts, you have to be everywhere and then make that everywhere show up on your social media. So what is the brand? What is the cohesive? One of the first things that we do when we bring a client on as, a PR client is we write a bio. We write a long bio and then we write a short bio. And this bio is like our guiding light for everything that we do, everything that we pitch, everything that we put out is branded underneath this bio. So whether we're talking about video production, whether we're talking about video editing, whether we're talking about long form video, short form video, any creatives, speaking of you, Ryan, it would all be then underneath the umbrella of who you are, what you do, and this one bio. Because we want you to be known for this, right?
Yeah.
And so we would all kind of get together as an agency. But then where are the places that your clients are reading? What are they watching? Where are they talking? And then we insert you into those conversations. So that's why having a personal brand is so important, because your competitors have one. If you don't, then people don't know who you are and your story of why you started it. And I'll tell you that the reason why my agency went from 0 to 1 million in 10 months was because of my story. There's so many PR agencies out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's no other PR agency that says, hey, I hired many PR agencies and they sucked. So I decided to sell my company and start one that didn't suck. And this is how I did it. And this is how I do it differently. And this is how that and my personal brand and my connections in the space are how we grew so quickly. So if I didn't have my personal brand set up so well on the back end, I would have just blended in with the rest of the agencies.
Yeah.
So your story matters.
That's interesting. It really made me think, and man, I just believe in that like 1,000,000%. But I just rewound and, I'm thinking about, I left the college that I was working at 2004, started my video business. Andrew and I, we'd been married for a little over a year. And my dad passed away 3 months after we got married. And so
sorry.
Into that next year when we start, I shot my first wedding 6 months into the business. And I'm doing every kind of, whatever opportunity was presented. I'm like, yep, I'll do that. I'll do $500 wedding video. Sure. I've never shot a wedding. I'll figure this out, shoot this wedding. And then every part of me is just like, this is it. This is the mission. My dad passed away shortly after our wedding. The last video I have captured of him is at our wedding. Our wedding video is terrible. I just had a couple of friends like, yeah, shoot, get some, it'd be cool. But all I could think is like, I have an opportunity to create treasures for families. And that really became the driving force behind the brand, because I said 6 months in, I'm like, let's go all in on weddings. This work seems so cool. I get to eat a fancy dinner. Like, I mean, how cool is that? Like, I'm getting paid to like sit down and eat. And then it just seems so easy because everybody's beautiful. Everybody looks their best. It's hard to get a bad, people are like, wow, you're really good at this. I'm like, you guys, this is like the easiest thing ever. Right. But for me, that became the driver of, that it just became part of my mission. Like the core part of my mission was to capture beautiful moments, not just like externally, but like the beautiful, like these families, and to know that I could create this treasure. And so just thinking about having that be my differentiator, because I remember having that conversation with brides. And are you serious? Like you start talking about like their dad, not their dad, you start talking about your own dad, and they start thinking like, oh geez, like, wow. But then like, wow, that's this guy's story. And so it creates, for a lot of people, it just created this connection. And then here I am all these years later, like, I think a lot of the success that I've experienced is because I had a I was able to kind of unpack and say, this is the mission. This is what I want to be all about. When we transition from weddings to corporate, it's still like the same thing. Like, I want to capture meaningful work. I want to capture meaningful stories. So for every video business out there, when you were talking, I'm like, you go to all of our websites and they all say the same freaking thing. They all look the same. We talk about the importance of story, and we talk about, it's like, you could put any brand's name, any studio's name on top of it, and it would feel the same. Okay, I'm exaggerating maybe just a little bit, but without your story, just what you're saying, I think is so, it's just, there's so much gold in it when you can articulate your why. That's why I was kind of like digging into your story a little bit, because it's like, yeah, there's a ton of PR companies out there. As soon as people start hearing about the struggle that you've gone through, the frustrations, the like, wow, single mom of 4, like that stuff, that stuff resonates, and that connects with a certain audience, and that gets people like, okay, if she's been able to do this, like, she could probably help me, because man, I haven't had it that bad.
No, it's true. And I think you bring up a good point, Ryan, that your story is different from everybody else's story. And you are sitting on gold. I mean, I hate to say, I mean, I'm sorry that your father passed away. I mean,
Capitalize on my
you
dad's
know what I
death.
mean?
Yeah.
But you can say, like, after my father passed away, 3 months later, I'm filming my first wedding, and I realized that this is the life that I want to live. I thankfully, got to view this video of my father's wedding, but I didn't do it the right way. I didn't have great videography.
Yeah.
Why are you skimping out on, like, one of the best treasures of your life?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, when you charge premium prices, you can say, like, I want this to be the best for you. I didn't have that. And that's one of the things, we charge, our agency charges between $7,500 and $12,500 a month. We are not cheap. But I'm going to tell you why we're not cheap. Most other PR agencies, they have like 1 or 2 really high paid people. And then they have a ton of junior people that are like fresh out of college. They don't know what they're doing, right? And then the results suck.
Yeah.
I brought in all senior people that have been in the industry 15 to 20 years. Their salaries are high, but they get results. So it's like, if you want to come in and get results, you can pay the $12,500 a month and get results. Or if you want to get crappy results, you can go to the $5,000 a month PR agencies and go with the junior person. It's up to you. But if you want results, come to us. I fixed all of the things that many PR agencies really suck at. Like, for me as an entrepreneur, I'm thinking ROI. How can we turn what we're doing in PR into marketable assets? So I coach our clients on how do we take all the PR that we're doing and then turn them into marketable assets, right? Turn them into sales funnels, turn them into great Instagram reels, and all of that, so that they can, get higher speaking fee rates. Like, that's all that I did. Every time I was on the Rachel Ray show, I would create a reel and then put ad dollars behind it to get people into my sales funnel. So do our clients have sales funnels? So, like, I'm trying to coach them along on how do we do this so that marketing, or so that PR can turn into a marketable asset. So marketing and PR are different. Most people think that PR should make you money, but it doesn't. But doing it the right way, you can turn the PR that we're doing into money if you learn how to turn it into marketing, right? We don't turn it into marketing for you. But so by using your story, you can actually become that higher priced, but then also explain to them, like, hey, I didn't have this at my wedding. And then my dad passed away 3 months later, and I wished that I had. Like, that story makes you stand out in a way that you can charge higher prices, and it, like, tugs at their heartstrings of, like, I don't want that to happen to me. Like, I don't wanna have a crappy video and then not have that memory. Like, if you know what I mean? So, and then for my clients, I'm like, you can go to the lower priced agencies, but I know we're gonna do a better job because all my people are senior and they know what they're doing. You're not gonna get somebody right out of college that's training. It's like, choose your adventure, right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And you probably have plenty of people who have gone the $5,000 rate and enough times to realize like this isn't working, they come to you and they're like, oh my gosh, like, okay, there is ROI in this. I see why there's a difference now, but it's hard as a business owner. It's really hard to justify like, oh man, but I could save like, you're charging twice as much. Are you really going to be able to get twice as much results? Like that's a hard justification for a lot of us.
I mean, yeah, I've sat in those shoes. I mean, I've literally sat in the shoes of like, do I pay the $2,500 a month or the $10,000 a month? Am I going to get my money back? But then the results of the higher agency, you would want to make sure that you're going to get them. That's why I have case studies all over my website of like the work that we do, because it's important to show that proof, like what you were talking about before.
Yeah, that's really good. I hope that one takeaway from this episode is to dig into your story more. Mine, I don't want to say it's like obvious. Like for me, there was a switch inside that I knew. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is my opportunity to do that. I can help people in this way. So I just knew what I knew. And for you, it might be completely different, but here's what I hear all the time. I accidentally shot a friend's wedding, or, I had somebody ask me to do that. I did this and I loved it. It was really cool. And so I did it again, and then I did it a bunch, and then I had a business before, and I was doing the thing. That's cool. That's like 98% of our stories.
Yeah.
Right. So like what is the thing that lights you up, and what is, why, like today, why do you do this work, and why do you care about it? And was there a moment that the light bulb went off? And when you can spend some time reflecting, then that's your story, your why. Simon Sinek, I mean, he's onto something when he shared that with all of us. It's like that becomes your differentiator. And if you sound the same as everybody else, like it's just like, okay, then it comes down to price. Are you cheaper than this person or not? So that's one hopeful takeaway for who we're chatting with. What else you got?
Yeah, no, I would say too that I think a lot of creatives, I'm a visionary, but then I also have a lot of like strategy and kind of practical stuff. But I'm mostly visionary. So I'm a creative. I think big picture, and I think a lot of creatives, we love the thing that we love. And if you ask, and Ryan, I'm going to ask you this question. Have you ever told yourself the question, I just want to do what I love to do? Like, I don't want to, I just want to I don't want to do like all the other things. Like, like, can I just like shoot weddings? Like, why do I have to deal with all the other stuff? Like, I don't want to, right? So as creatives, typically we get that. So if you can set a goal of like, these are the things that I hate to do, and in order to not do those anymore, I have to make X amount of money to hire out those things, and try to get there as fast as possible. Like when I started the agency, there were a couple things that I knew I had to do as fast as possible to get me out of that role, or else we weren't going to make it. So like when you're starting a business, like find out those things that are your why, and that you love to do and that light you up, and do those as much as possible, and then hire out everything else. Now, that's not always practical when you're beginning. You have to like do the things that you suck at. But if you can make a list of like, these are the things that light me up, and these are the things, and trying that, that really suck and drain my energy. Try and find people to fill those gaps so that you can do more of like the income generation. You can do more of the, the things that light you up. You will do better overall as a human being. And I think me surrounding myself with the people that do the things that I hate, and having like a really good team around me, is the reason why our business has become so successful, because I'm allowed to act in my zone of genius, and then I have the team members to do it. But when you start a company, you can't just hire people all the time. But figure that out for yourself, and then set yourself a goal of like, well, once I, do 10 weddings, then I can hire out an editor, to help me, because I hate editing, or, something like that. So give yourself a goal. And I think that'll help you really settle in a little bit more to being able to love what you do again.
Yeah. 100%. Having that goal and awareness to say, okay, what are those things that drain my energy, that drain my life? Knowing that, and here's what's so true. And I don't think I believed it for the longest time. There are people out there that the thing that you hate doing, there are actually people out there that are way better at it than you, and they
Like
love
it.
it, right? And it's like, what are you talking about? Nobody likes to do payroll. Nobody likes to do accounting. Nobody likes to do outreach. Nobody likes to, no,
They love
guess
it.
what? Like, you don't know enough people. You haven't asked. There will be people that would probably want to do some of that stuff for free. That's not what we're looking for. You're gonna pay people to do these things. But if you can start to believe that the thing that you absolutely hate, there are people out there that would, if that was their full-time job, they would thrive. So believe
true.
that. List that out. At the beginning, it's going to be super hard. You're going to have to do all the jobs, but at least have a vision and a goal for how do I get out of doing that one thing. My one thing early on was burning DVDs for our clients. Like, we had to print the DVD, we had to make the case and all of these things. It was, Lauren, it was the dumbest thing in the world that I did that job. I mean, I had to. I didn't have anybody else. But to think about what I'm good at, what I'm gifted at, guess what? It's not Photoshop. I can work around and I can figure it out. But exporting, watching, are there any blips or weird things in the video? Okay, now I burn it. Okay, I messed that up. That is not, I figured out how to do that, but that's not what I'm super skilled at. That's not the moneymaker here. I mean, you're looking at the moneymaker. It's, I need to be in front of people. I need to be with groups of people. I need to be sharing about my passion, my story about my dad. The more times I can share that, with when we're doing weddings, like, that's more clients I'm going to win. That's more money we're going to make. And the fact that I would believe for any certain amount of time that I would be stuck burning DVDs for the rest of my life. What a freaking waste of time. Man, I've used freaking twice. I am just so fired up right now.
It's so true. It's so true. And that, the two big things for me are finance and HR. I should not be in either of those roles because I am a cheerleader.
Amen.
And my last book that I wrote was called The Recovering Spender. So that means that I should not be in the finance role. Like, like, so there are two roles that Lauren should not be in, and they are like the two last roles usually that that somebody hires out are finance and HR, and those I thankfully have some amazing people in those seats right now, but I should not be in those seats, like, at all. I mean, I can oversee and approve, and I need to be involved, but I should not be the one having those conversations because it's just not good. But yeah. And then also, like, I think a lot of people need to understand kind of where the world is and where the money is being made right now. I think that's something too. Like, I've heard from a lot of people, especially creatives, who are like, well, I want to do this. And I'm like, that's great. But can you do this? Because that's where the money is right now. Like, can you figure out how to take your passion and put it into a place where I know that you can make money?
Yeah.
So, for example, like podcasting. Like, if you are a video editor, but you're working in traditional TV right now, maybe you could move to podcasting. Like, there's a lot more opportunity there right now. So, like, just think about it that way, that if you're scared of losing your job, go find a podcast that needs, there's so many podcasters that need really good editors. Like, it's all over the place. So there's so many creative ways to make money that, like, you don't need to go to college for. You don't need to, like, go and rewrite the reel. Just go to a podcast conference and meet some people and you'll get hired.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, that's super smart. It reminds me of my wife. She is she's a fine artist. That's what it says on her business card. My 10-year-old was like, "Mom, you're better than just fine." We're like, "Okay, well, yeah, it's a thing. It's fine."
It's a thing.
So anyway, there's a joke in our home, but she wants to just make whatever she wants to make, and she wants people to buy that. And we've had this conversation for years. I'm like, "Babe, people are buying landscapes. Can you please, for the love of God, just make some landscapes?" Because we got a lot of huge collection of art here, that she's made. If you do some landscapes, certainly these will sell because she's really good at them. She's like, "But I don't like making them." But we're like, hey, if we've got some financial goals and you want to make some money in this business, like let's spend maybe, more percent of your time doing this over here, making some money, and don't stop doing this stuff because this is the stuff that really lights you up. So it just depends on like, what are you building? Are you building a business? Are you just, financing a hobby?
Right, exactly.
Having fun. And in the world of video production, I would say early on, like, yeah, just follow your heart, do your passion. Those passion projects will turn into something, maybe, but make your work profitable so that you can kind of finance this stuff over here that isn't hitting yet. You're not as great of a documentary storyteller as you want to be yet, or filmmaker or whatever, but like, go like make this work so that it can sustain you and so that you can spend more time playing in this area over here that you're like, but I really get excited when I get to do this stuff. Okay, do that stuff pro bono, find time, but don't let that be your 80%. Make the 80% be the stuff that you find consistency, create some sustainability, make some money. That's okay. And if you don't give up on the dream like that, maybe that you can increase that to 30%, 40%, 50% as you're making money, building systems, getting a team around you. Okay, I'm going on and on, but that's my heartbeat for her, and she's doing it. Like it's fun and exciting. But for my filmmaker friends and other creatives, yes, we want to just do passion projects, but until they can feed you and do more than just feed you, but help you, pay for a kid in college. That's what I got now, so I'm doing that. And I can't just do the passion thing. I got to do a little bit of both here. We're getting close to the end here. What's a next step or your best advice? Like, give us the gold right now or forever hold your peace.
I think for people that are creatives that are looking for maybe more work or looking to, create a strong personal brand, there's a couple things that you can do. Like I said, go and Google yourself. See where you're showing up. See if your Google Knowledge Panel is claimed. Make sure that your bio is the same across all of your different channels, right? One thing that I do if somebody's looking for kind of a press blitz or something like that is I do VIP days in New York City, where instead of hiring a publicist, if somebody just has a moment where they want to show up, and with the press blitz, we do a TV show, an iHeartRadio day, a billboard in Times Square, and a couple other things to get your name out there and more searchable. So we work on that. So that's an option if you don't have budget for like a huge, 6-month PR campaign. So that's one option. If people want to find more about that, they can go to leveragewithmedia.com. But I would say definitely to go and do a press audit of yourself to make sure that your bio is updated on everything. It's the same across everything. If you don't have a website, create one. You can create, a cheap one on like Wix.com. That would be a great website. And then, they even have like AI resources that you can use on there. So I would create something like that, create a domain and get yourself out there and brand it in a way and use your story to create that brand for yourself so that you stand out a little bit more. Like Ryan's story stands out to me. So I would say those are some great steps for people to develop their personal brand. And then obviously, PR campaigns, we work with, if you're like a videographer on a documentary or something like that, we do PR on a lot of documentary releases, red carpets, things like that. So if anybody has any projects that they're working on that need PR and launch strategies or books, that's really our specialty.
I love that. And the power in, you hire a filmmaker, you hire a video production company for that company to be able to make an introduction to Lauren and her team for your client. I've got a couple of clients, book launch, so if you're making book trailers for authors, their publisher might say like, hey, you need to do this. And that person's stuck with like, okay, figuring out all the marketing and whatever, but to be able to partner with somebody like Lauren to say, hey, this person, her agency can help get in front of the places that this needs to go. Same thing with the documentaries that we're working on and the films. It's like, to have a PR partner that can help get the eyeballs on this, that is so powerful. And I just know whenever I make an introduction to a client of mine, they're so grateful and you become more of a invaluable resource for them. So start making introductions to your clients if you're not already, and to get more eyeballs on the projects that you're creating. I think that's a great leave behind for us to be thinking about you and your agency.
Yeah.
Lauren, thank you so much. I'm so glad we got this time together. How do you want to leave us today?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. And I truly believe that, like I said, the world is a beautiful place. And if you're a creative bringing in more beauty into the world, I'm grateful, because I think that's not a skill set that I have. I always hire those those things out. But, the business is hard, but, we always get to choose our hard, right? Of working for somebody else or creating your own company. Maybe you like to do both, whatever that is. But I think that, your dreams are worth it. And so I would always say and leave it on this, that, your dreams are worth it, and anything really is possible. If I can do what I've done, I can pass on the belief to you. So I hope that this was helpful in how you can build your personal brand as well, and also believe that your dreams are capable of achieving.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you.
Thank
This
you.
was awesome.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
it so much. Hey, thanks so much for tuning into this episode of the Grow Your Video Business podcast. If you got something out of today's conversation, do me a favor, share it with a friend or post it on your socials. Tag me at Ryan Coral or at Grow Your Video Business. I'd love to know what resonated with you. If you've got a question or a takeaway, drop a comment wherever you're listening or watching this. You can also shoot me a message. I read every single one. And hey, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. We've got more stories, strategies, and behind the scenes insights coming your way to help you build a business that you love. Keep creating, keep sharing your story, and keep showing up. I'm cheering you on. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. See you next time.